What's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had the first round of the playoffs, and unfortunately our team had probably its worst appearance of the playoffs before, as we got swept by the Nashville Predators. It was a very tough series for our team, just could not generate enough offense. As you can see, Bulbrook led the team with 3 goals in 4 games, and there was a bunch of other guys that didn't even show up in terms of scoring goals or picking up points. So it was a rather poor showing from our experienced team. You can see game 1 we lost 5-0. Game 2 is a lot closer, obviously losing in overtime, and same with game 3. And then game number 4 we lost 4-2. So we were in a lot of those games. However, we weren't able to score consistently because no goals in that game, 3 goals in this game, 1 goal in this game, and 2 goals in the last game. Like, we could just barely score more than 2 goals a game, which is not ideal. But on the brighter side of things, though, we did actually have a first round pick that was in the draft lottery from the New Jersey Devils, because last offseason we traded away Goddard to New Jersey. We got an unprotected first round pick. Well, that unprotected first round pick went on to win the draft lottery, which is pretty substantial this year. I will show you guys why in a little bit, just in case you didn't catch the last episode. But we have the first overall pick, which is really amazing. Obviously, in most normal drafts, it would be like an elite player. But in this year's draft, it's a franchise player. So we are grabbing ourselves a franchise winger who is a power forward. So he's basically a perfect replacement for when Aiden Irving actually decides to retire from this team. And this is going to be a very nice add for our team. And that could also even give us a good playoff push for the remaining years of this franchise mode. As you can see, he can play left side and right side. And he obviously, being a power forward, he'll bring some offense to the team a little bit. Good shooting, good puck skills, good everything pretty much. And he's apparently like Milan Lucic, which hopefully he's like prime Lucic and not like the Lucic near the end of his career. But still, I'm very excited to get ourselves a franchise player, because I don't think I've had a franchise player in a normal franchise mode in quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you go back even to like my Chicago series, Vance was an elite player, if I'm not mistaken. You go back to my Arizona series from before that, Agostino was an elite player. I know I've had some franchise players in my like drafted glories, but I don't think I've really had one in my main like normal series. So very happy that we're able to draft this guy first overall, just because of a trade we made last offseason. So that's going to be exciting. And then we have also 20th overall, which I think with that other selection, it won't really matter too much what we end up grabbing, because I don't know if it'll be a prospect that ends up making the NHL by the time the series ends. Like, there's some top 6 forwards and all that, so it's going to be a good draft, I think. But obviously, like, the late first round, you can see it starts to drop off considerably. Like, Pearson Knight, this guy is a medium top 6 offensive defenseman, so I think the draft class is going to be good in the early stages with that franchise guy for sure, but then afterwards, it's not going to be too good. So the rest of these prospects, I don't see making it to our team at some stage. There are just these medium 6s that could potentially make it, but I just don't know if we're going to really grab something great with our other pick in this year's draft. But very excited, obviously, for the franchise guy to come into our lineup next season and also improve our goal scoring. But anyways, before we get into the draft and resign stage, let's get in your guys' comments and then see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll get into the draft and resign stage. And then the next 3 episodes after this will all be pre-recorded. So you guys will get to see some episodes every Friday. I guess these series episodes would be going up while I'm in BC. So technically it would be going up on the 9th, the 16th, and the 23rd. So just a little heads up on that front. The first comment is from Michael Dose, who says, Game 2 tells me everything. Time for a rebuild and trading out high salary players. And to be honest, I was like, I don't really know, because our team doesn't have a lot of years left of this franchise. Like, I think we have only like another 7 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe the last year is 2047, 48, if I'm not mistaken. So there's not really a lot of time to basically trade out a lot of high salary players and go for a rebuild, because obviously there's just not a big of a window to actually start rebuilding in. So I think we want to obviously still try and contend, especially with that franchise guy coming into our lineup. And I think there obviously is a good chance that we could still obviously make the playoffs and win more Stanley Cups. But obviously it depends on if guys on our team that have been there for all the cup wins and stuff like that start to degrade and all that. Like, there's definitely a future version of this team which has like Ekholm, that franchise guy, those other younger players on the team. And there's no more players like Jacquezie, Vandermeer on this team anymore at that stage. But I definitely want to try and keep this team competitive at least till the end of the series, because we've made the playoffs like every year almost, I feel like, in the last like quite a while. Like, if we go to Aiden Irving, he'll be able to tell us when we last missed the playoffs because he's obviously been here the longest out of the bunch. So if we go to Aiden Irving, let's see what we got here. So when did we last miss the playoffs, out of curiosity? 33-34. Actually, it was more recent than I thought, but still, that's still quite some time. Actually, no, that was the year he was injured, actually. Never mind. Yeah, that was the year he was injured, so we won't even regard that. Last time we missed the playoffs might have been before his career even actually started. Yeah, it was his first season. We actually made the playoffs too, so it literally could have been the entire series almost for the most part that we made the playoffs, except for like those years early on that we like kind of blew it up when we traded away like Scheifele and all those type of things. So it could have been quite a while ago that we last missed the playoffs. Mike also replied to what I said about not having a lot of time left, and he says, I agree. I know you won't, but Irving should be sent off as a $10 million guy on a third line, as that money could be spent better ways, especially with a new franchise player coming in. And I understand that also like what you're trying to get at about him not being worth $10 million to be a third line guy. I get that, but I think he's very close to retirement, so I think it should come off our books relatively soon, like within one season. However, obviously, I understand what you mean as well about him not being worth it. I think he's still going to be able to put up good numbers, even as a 79. I know it seems kind of weird, and obviously him being paid $10 million still for quite a number of years is a little bit backbreaking, but I don't think he's going to be playing till 39, 40 years old at this stage, so I think I'm okay with holding on to him for a couple seasons more. And also, I don't think any team's going to be willing to take on his cap hit, especially for that low overall. So I think we might have to be just kind of stuck with him. He was actually really good this season too, but I don't know how he dropped off a cliff. Maybe it's because of his playoff performance, but he really struggled in the playoffs, but had a great regular season despite only playing 42 of 82 games. Like he'd be like the perfect like depth option in a sense, but he'd be obviously getting paid too much. But I will definitely be holding on to him for this upcoming season at least because he's quite much like the heart and soul player of this team. Like he's been one of the best captains I think I've had in a franchise mode. So I just don't think I could let him go that easily. Like Jacquizzi's a pending UFA this offseason. He's probably going to be let go of before then. So likely we let go of Jacquizzi this offseason instead of Aiden Irving. And the last and final comment is from Senator Otaku. Says, a bittersweet result. Jacquizzi needs to go for sure, and it's probably not a bad idea to trade Bergfist. Irving is the heart and soul captain of this team, and it would be nice to see him play his entire career with the Jets. At the same time, he should no longer be playing in the top six, and spending $10 million for a third liner isn't the best use of your cap space. I wouldn't argue either way with whatever you decide to do. And yeah, it's a really tough decision about this type of stuff this offseason. Like I said, I don't really want to trade Irving. Jacquizzi going is also a very tough thing for me to do because Jacquizzi's been one of our better players also in the series. However, his numbers are starting to decline quite a bit over the last number of years. And he's been a very good Winnipeg Jets player. 837 points in 899 games. Also some great playoff numbers. Has won, I believe, a Conn Smythe in his career. But he has to probably go just because he's going to be demanding too much money. And then he was saying about trading away Bergfist. That's also kind of a tough decision. However, he is going to be pending UFA at the end of the upcoming season. So it does make a lot of sense for us to move on from him. And then we could rely on Kalinin and probably some other free agent goalie. I do really like Per Bergfist, but I think obviously freeing up some cap space from him is not the worst case scenario. He's been a very solid goalie in the regular season. You can see he doesn't even have 100 regulation losses at this point. In the playoffs, his numbers definitely go down a little bit. Like the save percentage stays the same, but the goals against average goes up by a little bit. So he is relatively consistent, but also he has some very bad efforts, like you can see here, like that 868 in 2038, and then that 851 in 2041, which is this season. So hoping that obviously we could get something decent in return from him, like maybe a future unprotected first like what we did with Goddard, and maybe that could net us another franchise player or something like that. So anyways, let's get into this draft and make our decision and trading away Bergfist early on. Obviously, we do have the first overall pick, so actually we should probably take the franchise guy first, then we could trade away Bergfist. And I think that's probably the only player we're going to trade. I don't know what we're going to do with the rest of our selections because this draft class doesn't look the strongest. So the later picks, we might honestly just trade away to a team if we don't need them that much. But let's get into this draft and take Brian Marsh. It's going to be very exciting to have a franchise player. And I'm excited to see what he could do in his first season with this club because this club is still really good in terms of like offensive talent. So he should hypothetically get a very good chance to be the Rookie of the Year and hopefully getting into a playoffs right away. which is really interesting. Like, he's got the size and skill. He's got puck protection, size, and strength. None for weaknesses. Yeah, it looks really solid. Truculence, big tipper, close quarters potential. Actually, close quarters is guaranteed. The other ones aren't right now. He might also have a great slap shot from the point, which is nice. So yeah, he's definitely going to be like a pure-on replacement for Aiden Irving once Aiden decides to call it quits. But right now, he's going to be probably a replacement straight up for Jacuzzi on that top line, likely. Unless he's like only like an 82. But I think he's going to be like an 83, 84. I haven't seen franchise players that low before, so I don't think he's going to be like an 80 overall. If he is, that would kind of suck, but still very excited for him regardless. Let's take Brian Marsh with our first overall pick. Actually, I guess I could have went just to make pick and taken him already. All right, come on, Brian. He is from Barrie as well. That's where he was playing in the OHL. He's an 83. Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of expecting, at least an 83. And he's got a lot of abilities. He doesn't have a zone ability, which is kind of interesting, but here's a look at his attributes. He is going to be a menace, no weakness whatsoever. Like, legitimately, his only weakness is his poise. Like, even his face-off stats are good, so he could literally play left wing, right wing, center even if we want to. He's got great shooting attributes. His passing is solid. Hand-eye is great. And then he's got that physical attributes. The skating is good, too. And then there's his X factors. You can see he's got shutdown, so he's got some really good defensive play too, which is interesting for a power forward. He's got some good screening, of course, because he's got that size. Good at tipping pucks too, which means putting him in the front of the net would be nice. Close quarters, so good in close shooting, and he's also got a good slap shot off the rush. All right. Yeah, very excited for Brian Marsh. That might be one of the most exciting players I've been able to draft in a while, so very excited to see what he does with our team. Let's simulate to our next pick at number 20. We'll probably take one of those top 6 forwards that are supposed to go in the next round. But honestly, after that, I honestly might trade away my picks. There was apparently a really good steal at 15th overall. Kaupinen, 75 overall. Agostino's a 77. Damn. Yeah, there's some pretty good overall players in the early stages of this draft, like Line, even at number 9. Wow. So yeah, pretty good early stage of the draft. But like I said, I think it's going to drop off considerably near the later parts of this first round. So some of these guys could be top 6, but there's no guarantee. Pat McGuire's 3 years out. He doesn't look that bad. Our scouts say he's supposed to go a little bit earlier than this pick, which is interesting. Dale Byrne also could be interesting, but honestly I have no idea about them for sure. So I might go with the second round top 6 forwards, which were Pedro Teselios and Luis Endres. So let's see those guys. Yeah, I think it would probably be Endres, to be honest, even though he's not the gem. I think I will go with Luis Endres as the other selection. There you go. Boom. 65 overall, not too bad. Not too bad at all. And he's going to be potentially a good little penalty killer guy of the future. Good defensive stats already. Can't win faceoffs too good for a right winger, but that's okay. He's got good shooting attributes too, so maybe he could bring some offense. Let's simulate to our next pick at 52. I honestly might trade away picks after this point if there's nothing worth taking. I don't know if there's any low leads. Oh, there's some medium elite goalies. That actually might not be a bad idea because we don't really have much goalies in the system anymore. Ernest Lamb, 5 years out. Demetrius Lynch, 4 years out. He is 20 years old, but he's a medium elite that's 4 years out. I guess I would rather take him even though he is older just because of the fact that the series ends in like 7 seasons, so he could end up making it before the series ends. So let's go with Lynch with our next selection, and then I think I might auto-sim the rest. He's only a 59 at 20, which is pretty low. Is he HL eligible? He is. So we'll probably end up signing him right away, just so that way he gets into the AHL and gets a chance to play. We actually have multiple second rounders. I forgot about that, so I'll maybe take another player with this selection too. There's that other elite goalie. I guess I could take both of them. But there is a low elite sniper too, and another low elite here as well. We're going to start just going off the board here, so let's go with Lee Jackson, I think is our next selection since he's a gem. And he's a 68 overall. Wow, he was not even supposed to get drafted. Holy shit. Okay, 68 low elite at 19. I was not expecting him to be that high. Wow, that's a really high overall for a 19-year-old. He's also AHL eligible, hypothetically, so... Wow, I don't think he was even supposed to get drafted. That's insane. Okay, maybe we should draft more of those low leads for sure at this rate. Just go completely off the board, because why not? This guy could be a low lead as well, but I honestly have no idea for sure. There is, I think, one more low lead that was not supposed to get drafted for a while. Yeah, it's Oscar Fast. There's also Maxwell Anderson, who's a 20-year-old, but doesn't look that good. Let's go with Oscar Fast here. Jeez, why did I say Faf? Fast. There you go. 47 overall. Yeah, that guy's going to take a while to develop probably, but he could also be one of those low leads that jump up by like 20 points within a season. So at least it's more good prospects for a system. Let's see what else we could take here. If there's any other elite players, maybe. Kulikov could be a low elite potentially, and no guarantees. There is a medium 4, but usually medium 4s that are drafted this late aren't good. Edward Goddard. No, thank you. Let's take a chance with Kulikov that he's a low lead as well. Low 9, eh. Yeah, now we're at that stage of the draft where it's just like, I don't know if I want to even hold on to these picks or not. Because, yeah, you got bottom 6 forwards and such going. You know what? We're going to trade away the rest of our picks, I think, at this point. Oh, yeah, and we were supposed to trade away Burkus. I almost forgot about doing that. Yikes. So, let's go do that first and foremost. Actually, I should just take it. Let's trade away our picks first, I guess. Because we are on the clock, technically. But I almost completely forgot about trading away Bergfist. And you guys were probably like, dude, you got to trade away Bergfist. Yes, I know now. Let's get rid of Bergfist and see if there's a team that wants him. Let's see who wants him other than the other teams. LA Kings, and they're a good team. Montreal would be okay. Do they have a draft pick that they'd be willing to give me for next year? Unprotected first? Maybe we could get this done. Because we do have draft picks for the rest of this year, the 5th and the 6th. I don't know if that's enough, though. Bergfist 5th and a 6th for a first-round pick next year. No. Would you allow me to throw in... I could throw in a 3rd for next year, to be honest, from Dallas. I don't mind doing that. Oh, they still don't want it. Huh, okay. Might be tougher than we think. Do they have any interest in any prospects here? Let's see. Goalies matching block, Skaters matching block. Is there anybody I would actually move out of the prospect pool? Trying to think. They actually have interest in Crest and stuff like that, but those guys are pending free agents. Yeah, I don't think any of these guys have enough value, so I could do Bergfist for maybe 2 second-round picks instead of a first. Would you give me 2 second-round picks? So 2 second-round picks, 2042, 2043 for Bergfist. Oh my goodness. Will this go through? Yes, it will. Okay, so we get rid of Bergfist to Montreal. We get 2 second-round picks because we could not get a first-rounder. Does suck the way to trade away him, but like I said, we need to free up maybe some cap space, and he was the best way of doing so. All right, so now we just need to trade away these other picks that I have. Let's not go find trade. We do not have a lot of time before our selection's made, so let's just call a timeout because I don't want to make a pick with this 5th rounder. It's not worth it. Oh my goodness, what am I trying to do here? Offer trade. There you go. That's what I'm trying to find. Let's see. So we are trying to get rid of these 5th and 6th round picks. Who wants them that is not in the West? Let's go with Boston. Give me a future 4th round selection. That should be okay, actually. I can might even get more than that. I'll try a 4 for a 5th and a 6th. There you go. So we get rid of 2 picks and we get a future 4th rounder. It's not really much of anything anyways, but I just didn't need those selections. So anyways, there is that. And let's simulate to the end of the draft now. And yeah, that was an okay draft, I'd say, for our team. Of course, getting the franchise player is fantastic. Endress is a decent prospect. Lynch and Jackson are interesting. And then Fast could be something decent. Obviously, it's going to take him a while to develop. Kulikov was definitely our worst pick, but I think we got obviously some good more prospects for our prospect pool. Will some of them make it before the end of the series? Probably not, but it's okay. They'll be maybe in the AHL at least by then. All right, re-sign stage. How much money do we have to spend? We do need to bring back some coaches. We might actually look for a new head coach this offseason as well, just because our current coach wasn't the best fit for our team, so I might honestly look for a new one. I'm going to let Steve Jenkins go, the assistant coach, for now. Honestly, don't need to bring him back necessarily. But we'll see if we can find ourselves a new head coach that works better with our team. Okay, so St. Pierre needs to come back as well. So it's only those 2 scouts, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sir. Perfect. All right. How much money do we have to spend in the Resign stage? $40 million. That's actually a lot more than I was expecting. So maybe we didn't even need to trade away Bergfist. I honestly don't know. But let's go to RFAs here. And first and foremost, qualify the guys that are just in the AHL because they don't matter that much. What is Color looking like? Still 2-way. He's getting closer to the NHL at least. And Zajac, the low 6, is developing quite well as well. He's almost a depth. Yeah, he's literally listed as a depth forward. That's actually pretty impressive. Guy's good shooting. Was a 2nd round pick, so that's maybe why he's developing. Huh, alright. Kang is trying to get a one-way deal. I will probably end up just qualifying him for now. Depends is an interesting one because I believe he's close to a UFA status. Why does he want $8 million? What the hell? Why does he want $8 million? He literally just picked up 20 points in 49 games. In an 82 game season, that's not even that much points. Like, if he played a full season with us and wasn't scratched early on, how much points was he on pace for? Because I don't know why he's trying to get paid so much. 49, let me times this by 82, do some math. 33 points he was on pace for. He was on pace for 33 points. Playoffs, he didn't do anything. So why is he trying to get $8 million? Well, I don't think I could give him a long-term deal at that rate. Because I don't think that's a good idea, just in case he ends up being shit. I am going to end up having to qualify him for the last year of his RFA status. Because he's trying to get paid way more money than he's worth, probably. Harrison's a decent bottom 6 guy. He's almost trying to get $3 million. He has still a lot of time to qualify him, so I'm going to still qualify him. And then Kavusari is one that I'm kind of interested in signing long-term, maybe. Because his passing game has been really good. So I think if he's obviously in like a top 6 role or something at some point, that could be beneficial. Yeah, I could do a similar contract maybe to Bull Brooks. 5 years at 5.8. Yeah, you know what? That's not too bad. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll take Kavusari back on a 5-year deal. Kalinan's a pending UFA probably after 1 year. No, pending RFA after 1 year. Doesn't look like he's going to be too expensive in the future. Like, he's definitely a guy that's going to be just more of a starting goalie at best. I'm sure, you know what? I'll just give you the 2 years you're asking for right now as a little trial run. It might be a bit of a risk, but still, that's a cheap for goaltenders, so I'll take it. And then in terms of our UFAs, let's go to the bottom of this list here. In terms of prospects, Eklund's not going to get a contract. Enland is, but he does not look like he's going to develop as a low elite, unfortunately, but that's okay. Because Hiznikov is also going to get an ELC. I believe, was he a first-round pick of ours? He looks like he would have been. Yeah, he was. Okay. I had to make sure on that. Delorme's also going to get an ELC. Might as well on that overall rating. Tambellini and such. I have to probably let go of some of these AHL guys. So I think we're going to let go of like Tambellini and Biron. They've been there for too long. Scrimes. I'm going to sign Fawcett for sure as well. Do I want to bring back Scrimes? 55 points last year. He's actually a decent AHLer. Yeah, we should probably hold on to some of the AHL guys at least. Don't want to let go of all of them, you know. So I'll get those guys signed up. Antropov was a guy we brought in as a depth defenseman. I'm going to let him go. We have some other options still to go through. I'm not going to sign Ness to his ELC because he's not worth it. Let's go to the unsigned guys here. Obviously, the Brain Marsh of the world is going to get signed. Morose isn't AHL eligible yet, so he's not going to get it yet. Carson is close too, but he's not AHL eligible. Jackson is AHL eligible. I'm going to wait 1 year, I think, on him. I think, yeah, just because there's a lot of defenders going into the AHL, and I don't want him scratched. Lynch, we were saying maybe sign him already just because he's got that potential and he's already 20, so we're going to do that as well. He might be a low overall, but we got to get another goalie prospect into the system with Phillips, and I'm hoping that helps his development quite a bit. And now we have our interesting UFAs and stuff like that. I think I'm going to let go of Hagelin. He was more of a depth option that ended up playing in the AHL. I think I'm going to let go of Mishenko as well. We're going to find some new depth options a little bit. We're also going to probably let go of Kress and Visainen. Kress, how good was he with us again? 25 points plus 7. Didn't do anything in the postseason. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with the addition of Kress. And I don't think he's worth $7 million right now. So, going to let him walk. We're going to also let Visainen walk too. I might bring back Scarlett, but we're going to probably change up our full-on defensive core next season. But Scarlett, $7 million he's trying to get paid as a 79. I think Jimmy Scarlett's got to go too. This team is definitely going through a little bit of changes this offseason. Scarlett has been a long-time defender of our team. 691 games. He's been great defensively, but the fact that he's trying to get almost that much amount of money is kind of ridiculous. Like, how is a 79 worth that much amount of money? You go 8 years, he wants 8.3 as a 79. So, unfortunately, Jimmy Scarlett, thank you for your time here and all the cup wins, but I can't afford to pay you that much, especially with that franchise guy that's going to be needing a contract in a few years. We honestly might be able to afford Jacuzzi, but I don't think I have the roster space really for Jacuzzi, which is the funny thing. Let's advance today and just make sure I get all those guys first and foremost. I think I saw a couple rejections in there, or maybe one rejection. Yeah, it was Grimes. Huh, okay. Let's see if I could get Grimes to accept a little bit more on a two-way deal. But Jacuzzi could hypothetically come back, but the thing is, you look at our 4 group for next season already. We have Ekholm, Bickle, Vernarski. We'd have Harrison playing 4th line center, or something like that, or 3rd line center, something like that. So we have 4 guys already. We have 5, 6, 7, 8 with Bohms, 9 with Kang, 10, 11... Or 10 with Bulbrook, 11 with Kawasari. Yeah, I think we gotta let go of Jacuzzi, even though we have probably the cap space. It just doesn't make sense. We are gonna need a lot more defenders for next season. That's definitely something that we're gonna have to spend a lot of our money on, and we also need a new backup goalie, of course. So yeah, I think unfortunately we gotta let go of Jacuzzi. This is gonna be a tough one to let go of, but Arthur, like I was mentioning earlier, you've been here for a long time, won a lot of Stanley Cups. Had some great seasons. Had some really good goal scoring seasons. You also take a lot of penalties, but unfortunately after 899 games and 164 playoff games, we gotta let you go. You did win a lot of Stanley Cups here at least, so 2 cups, 3 cups. I believe he was here for 5 of them. Yeah, I think he was here for 4 or 5 of them at least. So, it's a tough one to let go of too, because look at his shorthanded goals. 14 shorthanded goals, 35 shorthanded points. If this friggin' what is the music theme would go away. There you go. 35 shorthanded points. Like, this guy's been a huge part of our penalty kill. Throws a lot of hits, takeaways the puck a lot. But he's got to go, unfortunately, just due to the fact we need to address our defense and we have way too much of a logjam out forward. And I'd prefer to let him go over Aiden Irving, which I know might sound like a dumb thing, but Aiden's the heart and soul. So, Arthur, best of luck in free agency. And there you go. A lot of people are going to lose morale because of that, which I was expecting. That's a pretty substantial one to let go of. All right, so we should get Grimes accepting here for that 2-way deal, which he does. And that means we're down to $35 million in cap space. We do have some RFAs to deal with. But our main need is defense for sure, because at this stage we already have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 potentially with Bomick or Holmquist. So we're good on the forward count, I think. Defense, we got 1, 2, 3. Defense is obviously still an RFA, but we got 3 defenders. We need still probably a couple more defensemen that I'm going to have to sign in the next episode, since, like I said, they're pre-recorded episodes, the next ones. Let me see. I have a pen here. I think this is the one that works. Just got to make sure on that, because I do want to write down what I need to sign, so it's a little bit easier for me to actually remember. So we probably need 2 more right-handed D-men, and potentially top 4. Yeah, top 4 defensemen. Actually, 1 top 4 and 1 top 6. And then we also need 1 more left-handed defenseman. And then that's like a top 6. And then we also could use a depth defenseman, 1 depth. So yeah, we need hypothetically like 4 more defensemen. And then we also need a starting goalie or Yeah, probably a starting goalie because I don't know if Kalinian's going to be a starter. So there's a lot that we need to bring in still. But we have a lot of cap space at least, so this will at least make it a little bit easier for us to find those pieces while maintaining the amount of cap space we have. Like Harrison shouldn't cost a lot. His asking price should go down a lot. If it doesn't, I'll be kind of surprised. And then, yeah, Kang's going to be cheap and such. So we should be pretty good in terms of all that. So let's simulate to free agency. There is one of the scouts back, I guess. And the other scout has also accepted. We also, like I said, we'll look at some coaches. Color's already accepted. Zajac, Bannister. Kang's already accepted too. So some of the AHL guys / depth forwards. And we're going to look and see if there's any new head coaches out there as well. But, yeah, actually, let's get to that first. Because our current coach, I don't think, was a hugely great fit for this team at the moment. So, right now, I'm going to demote him to NHL assistant coach. And then we are going to hire a coach and see what there is out there. So, Jay Leach or Justice Leach. Better fit. Is there anybody in the 60-plus range? In the offseason, it's really tough to tell how good of a fit they actually are, though. Earl Shuko. The best one would probably be Justice Leach. Actually, not Justice Leach. It's probably Isaiah Holloway based on the 59%, I would assume. I just want to get this addressed already. I might already address like who I'm going to sign in free agency in this episode, too, potentially. We'll see. Just because obviously the next episode is pre-recorded, so... Yeah, I think we're going to have to go for Holloway, potentially. He is one of the older coaches, but where has he coached? Pittsburgh. Okay, he's coached a good Pittsburgh team the last long time. Long time. Has got to a cup finals at one point. Yeah, he's an experienced coach. He is probably close to retirement, but I think he'll be our guy to go after. Colorado and Montreal also have interest in him, but we're going to try our best to persuade Mr. Holloway to join the team. So I'll offer him a contract as our head coach. So there's that. So that's the coaching stuff we've dealt with for now. Let's go to free agency and see what I could offer, because I'll probably offer some contracts in these episodes to some free agents, and then yeah, basically next episode we'll actually see if they accept. Now this is kind of hilarious. We literally just got a franchise player for free technically, because Jordan Goddard is testing free agency after 1 year with New Jersey. He's trying to get paid $15.6 million. He does have 3 teams interested in him, which is kind of crazy. But Goddard is great. He had 60 points last year as a Devil, but look at that, minus 39. Pretty big oof. Yeah, he's going to get paid a lot of money, and that might be one of the worst contracts we see in the league this season. He only wants 4 years, which ain't too bad, but jeez. Okay, so actually there's some teams interested in Jacuzzi. Who's interested in taking our former top liner? New Jersey, Edmonton, and Colorado. All right. Okay, so we need, first and foremost, a goalie. There's not really any starting goalies out there except for Yakubov. Yakubov is how good? Yakubov played in Calgary and Edmonton, so he's been a West Coast guy. He's trying to join all Western Canadian teams or something. His stats really aren't that good in the regular season. However, he has made the playoffs, and he hasn't been good either. Has been actually better in the playoffs than in a regular season by a little bit. This guy's not really that good and worth that type of money. I might honestly go for somebody more like Maximus Nash, who I've seen play pretty good as a backup goalie primarily. Yeah, he was actually really good last year in St. Louis, regular season, and also the year before in the playoffs. Yeah, maybe I bring in Maximus Nash and have like a friendly goalie competition to see who ends up being our starter. Like, we won't have the highest overall goalie in the world like we did with Berkfist, but yeah, Maximus Nash I think is going to be the goalie I go after. 1 year deal, we'll just up it a little bit because we got some money to spend, so let's do that. $2.5 million. See if he'll come to Winnipeg, because that would be Nash and our other goalie, Kalinin. I was thinking Kozlov for some reason. Defensively, we need a lot of defenders. Where do we start here? All these guys are trying to get paid quite a bit of money too. Yikes, that's not great. Semin would probably be a good one because he's only 27. However, he wants 6-year deal. Jeez. Louis Var I could bring back, but he's also trying to get paid. Brent Clark is really old. That's why he's only trying to get 2.85. Wow. Couturier, I remember seeing this guy before. He's only 34. He'd be probably good as the top 6 defensive option. Now, I did say I needed 2 right-handed D. One would be a top 6, one would be a top 4. Oh, it does look like he fits our old coach's system, so that might be good. Yeah, I think he's going to be the replacement for Scarlett. So a little bit of an older defender, but is a pure-on replacement for Scarlett at the moment. So we'll bring him in. We also need a top 4 right-handed defenseman if possible, which the only one there is Kress. Kress is really not trying to get paid that much by comparison to some of the other guys. I could honestly bring him back, being 26. I didn't really like his play, though. Trying to see who else is relatively cheap. I don't want to go too cheap because also our defense is going to be trash. Yeah, there's not really much out there. Belfoy, some decent amount of stats, but we already have an offensive defenseman. I'm trying to see who would be good to be bringing in. Brant Clark, if he was younger, would be nice, but this 25-year-old defenseman is not bad either. Christian Franzen. But that's so expensive. Why are these defenders so damn pricey? I think I might have to go for Kress, to be honest, at this rate for that top forward right-handed defenseman. Because there might not be much else out there. But I don't want to give him the 5 years he's trying to get. If I go 1 year, it's still around the same. Let's just do a 1-year deal for Kress. At this point, I might as well bring him back because there's not really much else out there for right-handed defensemen. So that would be 2 defensemen. We also need a top 6 left-handed defenseman. So let's try and find one of those too. And we need a depth defenseman after that. So probably somebody like Lampkin or whatever. Actually, we might go with Zykov because he's the youngest. Yeah, we might go for Zykov here because he's the youngest, sure. So we'll go 1-year deal for him. Columbus is also interested, but let's try and beat them out a bit. So those are going to be the defenders that we offer, except for the depth defenseman. We just need a depth defender, which we'll take pretty much anybody here. So, ooh, an enforcer defenseman? Zachary Clarkson? Yeah, let's bring in an enforcer defenseman, sure. Let's bring in somebody to punch faces. Turn into a full aggressive mode for this team. So Clarkson is the depth defenseman. And then we also need ourselves... We didn't need ourselves any forwards, so that's all we really needed in free agency. So we should be able to get all those guys. So we approached Nash and Net, and we have Kress, Couturier, Zykov, and Clarkson. Not the best defenseman to bring in the world, but there might not be better options out there. Obviously, if we suffer a lot and our team doesn't win games, I can make some trades and change up things, find new coaches. There's not going to be a big problem. Like, we have prospects that I can flip easily too, so let's advance a few days and see if those guys accept, especially that coach, because I think that coach is probably one of the most important things. He does come in, so Holloway has joined the team. Love to see it. And free agency-wise, Clarkson has jumped on, so there's the enforcer. AJ Couturier has also joined us as a top 6 replacement for Scarlett, pretty much. Nash is in as our backup/starting goalie, potentially. Kress is in as a top 4 defenseman again, so welcome back to Sasha Kress. And Mikhail Zykov also has joined the team. So everybody, I think, joined our team, which is pretty awesome. I love it when that happens. Nice when we don't get any competition too much. Yep, and everybody else is signed. So we got everybody that we wanted. We do have our RFAs still that are trying to get their contracts at the moment. Which they should still drop their asking prices quite a bit, especially DePenta. It's just down to Harrison and DePenta. So we got enough money to definitely add more players to our team if need be. But let's begin. Actually, wait. We can't sim up to next season yet. I was going to wait till next episode to see if those guys accepted. Oh, man. I'm getting confused. I feel like I'm still recording the same episode. I was supposed to end the episode at that point. Oh, well. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will sim up to the start of the season. We'll simulate through a little bit of the season and see how our team's doing with some new players involved, the new coach involved. It'll be interesting to see if our team is good, and I'm excited, obviously, for Marsh to see what he could do in his rookie season. So we're probably going to simulate like maybe around halfway point of the regular season, but like I said, the next 3 episodes are pre-recorded, so that would probably be the rest of the regular season basically coming up, and then also maybe one round of the playoffs if we make it to the playoffs. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.